Assassin's Creed 2 takes us deep into Renaissance Italy, filled with famous historical figures, landmarks, and events. But how much of it is actually true? Let's find out. Since this game is much bigger than the first one, I'll go through it sequence by sequence. Enjoy! First off, unfortunately, the Auditore family didn't exist. The first memory we play as adult Ezio is a fight against Vieri de' Pazzi, who is also fictional. The thing with this brawl is that they are both nobles, so it's unlikely they would have participated directly. These fights weren't unusual for that time, but they would typically hire mercenaries to fight for them. After that, we go to see the doctor. These kinds of doctors were called plague doctors, and the reason behind their bird-like masks is interesting. At that time, people believed that good smell would cancel out diseases, so they put herbs and spices inside the masks. A couple of memories later, we meet Leonardo da Vinci, the famous artist and engineer who becomes Ezio's good friend. Next is the hanging of Ezio's father and brothers. The problem with this is, as we learn later in the game, the Medicis, who ruled the city at the time, were close to the Auditores. They would have known about the execution. Monteligione is actually real, just like the conflicts with Florence, but in real life there is no villa in the city. In one of the early missions, we have to save the Medicis from the Pazzis. They were real and the date is accurate too. However, the attack happened inside Il Duomo, where Lorenzo de' Medici was wounded and his brother was killed. The chaos in the city after the attack also reflects real events. After the attack, we are tasked with killing Francesco de' Pazzi, who, unlike his son, were a real historical figure. Following the successful assassination, we hang him from Palazzo Vecchio. In reality, Jacopo de' Pazzi, Archbishop Salviati, Bernardo Baroncelli, Antonio Maffei, and Stefano de Bagnon all shared the same fate. The dates mostly match the real timeline. All of the conspirators died in 1478, whereas in the game Salviati, Baroncelli, and Bagnon die in 1479, and Jacopo passes away in 1480. After we leave Florence, we meet Da Vinci along the way and help him get to Venice, where he remains for most of the rest of the game. In reality, he was in Milan at the time and only went to Venice in the early 1490s. Before we head to Venice, we have to save a woman, Caterina Sforza, who was the Countess of Forli after her husband passed away, but more on that later. Now we're jumping forward in time. The Templars try to kill the Doge of Venice. Ezio tries to intervene, but by the time he arrives, one of the Templars' men named Carlo Grimaldi, who isn't real, has already poisoned Giovanni Mocenigo, the Doge. The date matches the real-life date of his death in 1485. There were also rumors that the Doge was poisoned, so that part could be true as well. The flying machine we use in this mission also existed and was based on Leonardo da Vinci's real designs. It's carnival time in Venice. The carnival has a long history there and remains very popular even in modern times. During this event, Ezio is tasked with killing the new Doge, Marco Barbarigo, who is a member of the Templar Order. The real Marco Barbarigo also died in 1486, though not in the way the game depicts. He was succeeded by Agostino Barbarigo, just like in real life. Now we have to free a mercenary named Bartolomeo d'Alviano. He actually existed and was a military leader. Here we have our first fight with Rodrigo Borgia, who was a real historical figure, but more on that later. This is also where we first meet Niccolo Machiavelli, who in real life was a diplomat, author, philosopher, and historian. Back to Caterina. In the game, Caterina hires the Orsi brothers to kill her husband. After that, during the Battle of Forli, the Orsi brothers kidnap two of Caterina's children in exchange for a map and the apple. We then have to save them. At the end of the sequence, we see a mysterious figure take the piece of Eden. We later find out it's Savonarola. Now historically, her husband was killed by the Orsi brothers, but there is no evidence that Katerina was involved in that plot. The brothers did take the children, but fortunately they survived. Savonarola wasn't an unknown man at the time either. He had already made a name for himself. So, Savonarola. In real life, he did become the ruler of Florence and enforce many of the same things we see in the game. Burning objects he considered immoral, like nude paintings, wigs and makeup, love poems, games and musical instruments. His death, however, was different. He was hanged over a fire, so his body would be completely consumed. This is the game's finale, where we have our final fight with Rodrigo Borgia. Just like in the game, he was Pope from 1492 to 1503. There are several historical buildings featured in the game. We can also collect real paintings that existed during that time. Unfortunately, not all the weapons are historically accurate, but some of them are. And that's gonna be it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.